They say empaths can feel the pain of others as if it's carved into their own skin. Every sigh, every hidden tear, every unspoken fear. They absorb it all, until their soul is carrying storms that were never theirs to begin with. Most people see this as a blessing. But the truth? It can be the most dangerous curse. Because even the gentlest hearts have a breaking point. And when they snap, it's not just anger that comes out. It's everything they've swallowed for years, erupting all at once. Carl Jung studied moments like these, when a person's hidden shadow finally breaks free. And today, you're about to hear one of his most chilling cases. A story of kindness turned into something fierce, of love reshaped by survival. Stay until the end, because if you've ever been the one who gives without limits, you might see yourself in this, and it could change the way you guard your own heart forever. She had always been the safe place, the steady ground everyone turned to when their world was falling apart. Friends, family, even near strangers would confide in her, unburdening their hearts as if she were a vault that could never overflow. She listened without judgment, offered comfort without hesitation, and carried secrets she wished she could forget. In the beginning, it felt like a purpose, a way to bring light into other people's darkness. But with each passing year, the weight grew heavier, and she noticed a cruel truth. The kindness she poured into others rarely flowed back to her. She told herself it was fine, that strong people don't need as much in return. But strength without rest isn't strength, it's a slow collapse. And though she didn't realize it, her collapse had already begun. The moment came quietly, not as a sudden explosion, but as a deep crack spreading through her spirit. It was an ordinary evening, nothing dramatic, just another long phone call with someone who needed to talk. She listened as always, but somewhere in the middle of their words, she felt it, a cold, heavy awareness that she was completely empty. Their pain pressed against her, but instead of compassion, she felt exhaustion. When the call ended, she sat in silence, staring into the darkened window, and for the first time, she didn't recognize the person looking back. She had become a ghost in her own life, existing to absorb other people's storms while hers raged unseen. Something had shifted, and once it moved, there was no going back. From then on, she stopped picking up the phone right away. Messages went unanswered for hours, sometimes days. At first, she was flooded with guilt. Helping was what she did, who she was. But guilt gave way to something sharper, anger. She realized that while she had been the lifeline for so many, no one had noticed she was drowning. Every unreturned gesture, every time she had swallowed her truth to protect someone else, burned inside her like a slow fire. Carl Jung's words about the shadow self echoed in her mind. The parts of ourselves we bury to survive. Her shadow had been silenced for years, hidden behind smiles and patience. But now it was awake, and it wasn't asking for permission anymore. The change was subtle to everyone else, but to her, it felt like the ground beneath her feet had shifted. She no longer softened her words to avoid upsetting people. When someone dismissed her feelings, she didn't retreat into silence. She met their gaze and spoke with a calm firmness that left no room for misunderstanding. It startled those who were used to her endless patience. Some called her distant. Others accused her of being selfish. But she knew better. This wasn't selfishness, it was survival. For years, she had mistaken self-sacrifice for love, thinking that giving until she was empty was proof of her worth. Now she understood the truth. Love without boundaries isn't love, it's erosion. Her snap wasn't loud or violent. It was steady and deliberate, like closing a door that had been left open for too long. She chose to step away from people who only came to take. She stopped apologizing for needing rest. She started saying no without explaining why. And with every boundary she set, she felt the weight on her chest begin to lift. The quiet was strange at first, almost unsettling. But in that quiet, she found something she hadn't felt in years: space to breathe. That space slowly filled with life again. She began to read the books she had once pushed aside for late-night phone calls. She walked in the cool evening air without the constant buzz of her phone in her pocket. The ache that had lived in her chest for so long began to fade, replaced by a steady warmth. The people who truly cared stayed and adapted to the new version of her. The ones who didn't quietly drifted away. And for the first time, she saw that the day she thought she had broken was actually the day she began to heal. So maybe the breaking point wasn't a collapse at all. It was the moment she reclaimed herself. Her empathy hadn't disappeared. It had evolved into something stronger, something rooted in self-respect. She learned that protecting her own heart didn't make her less kind. It made her kindness sustainable. And in that truth, She found a freedom she never thought possible. If you've ever felt like you're carrying the weight of everyone else's world, remember this. You are allowed to set it down. You are allowed to choose yourself, not just once, but every single day. Because the world doesn't just need your compassion, it needs you, whole and unbroken. If this story resonated with you, like it, share it, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that stay with you.